Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome everyone. Roll call on declaration of conflicts of interest.
Councilmember Abram,
Here, and I have a conflict on 8E and 8F.
Councilmember Bixel,
Here and none.
Vice Mayor Moniz.
Here and none.
Councilmember Phillips,
Hearing none.
Mayor Bublak.
Here and conflict in 8E and F. Approval of agenda as posted or amended.
So moved.
Second.
Got two motions? Any seconds? Yes. We have a second? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram,
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
Mayor Bublak.
Yes, it passes on a 5-0. All right, the first presentation shall be Treasurer Abram.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, members of the public. I'm your city treasurer, and I'm here to review the city's investment portfolio. So first, just some background on how the various departments interact. The council is responsible for setting policy, adopting a budget, approving spending, and the finance department does more day-to-day operations like accounting and financial reporting, and they really understand the city's cash flows, the sales tax and property tax that's coming in, the bills we have to pay. And then Director Moreno will communicate to me if we have a big expense coming up or if we have extra money building up in our checking account that's free to invest. And then I'm the one who gets to make the investment decisions. And I have to follow the California Government Code that kind of lays out the rules and regulations for investing public funds, as well as our city's own investment policy, which is a little bit more restrictive than the government code, and also lays out our other policies and procedures. In our investment policy, we establish three main goals: safety, liquidity, and return. And on the next slides, I'll explain how we meet those goals. We're also subject to the prudent investor standard, which means that we should invest responsibly, and we have a duty to diversify, right? So everyone knows that investments carry risks, but if we can diversify the investments that we have, we can diversify that risk and kind of reduce it on the level of the whole portfolio. This table also shows the investments that we're authorized to make, and they can pretty much be summarized by saying they are short-term, high-quality bonds. So if you see the stock market crashing or soaring in the news, that really does not affect the city's investments. We are just in very stable bonds. Our investment policy also lays out our safekeeping arrangements. You know, we should work with reputable institutions that are keeping our funds safe. And also every month you get a report from the treasurer that discloses all the transactions that have happened in the last month. And also for transparency, it lists all of our investments and balances. And the report lacks a little bit of context, but that's why I will come periodically to give you a little bit more context. So our main objective is safety of principal. So this essentially means we don't want to incur investment losses over time, right? Market values will go down from time to time, but we want to make sure we're getting our money back routinely. And the way we do this, again, is we're investing in short-term, high-quality bonds. Bonds require the issuer to pay interest and return your par value at maturity. So we know that as long as that issuer doesn't go bankrupt, we're going to get our money back, and we even know what return we're going to get. The second way we ensure safety is we diversify the issuer types. So you see here we have a lot of money in U.S. Treasuries. Those are obviously backed by the full faith and credit of the U.S. government and its taxing authority. We also invest in things like corporate bonds, where those are large, mature companies who sell products and services that we all use every day, and they have very stable cash flows to repay their debts as well. So different types of investments, but all very safe bonds. So we're very safe, and then the second objective is liquidity to meet cash flows. So that pretty much means that we need to be able to convert our investments to cash quickly and affordably when we need to, pay our bills. So this chart shows our investments by maturity date. We can go out as far as 5 years, but it's really the shorter term investments that provide more liquidity. In particular, we have over $120 million that is under due on demand. So these would be things like our checking account, money market funds, CAMP, and LAIF. These are like stable value funds that if you put $10 million into it, you should be able to request $10 million out of it and get it either the same day or the next business day. So we have ample liquidity. If anything, we have more than enough liquidity. So what I've been trying to do is to take down some of that liquidity and extend it into like the 4 and 5 year bonds. And the reason for that is that interest rates are presumably going to start declining, and the really short-term bonds have reinvestment risk. So the bond is being returned to you, and you're going to have to reinvest at prevailing rates, and if those rates are going down, your returns are going down. So we're trying to lock in rates as long as we can. So you see in the 4 to 5 years, it's gone up from 20 million at the beginning of the year to about 60 million. So we're making progress there while still maintaining our liquidity. And then after we make sure that we're being safe and liquid, we just want to achieve a return on our investment. And over the first 6 months of the year, the portfolio's returned 2.67%, and that means an additional $7.7 million for the city. How does that compare to what the market has done? Well, for that, we look at some benchmarks. They're not an apples to apples comparison, but it just gives you some context. So 0 to 3 month treasury bonds did 2.1%, and 1 to 3 year treasury bonds did 2.73%. So you can see we're right on track with what the market is doing. And because it's a marathon and not a sprint, in addition to the last 6 months, we also want to kind of look ahead to see how we're positioned for the future. So if we hold all of our bonds to maturity, we expect to get 4% per year for the next 2 years. And that also compares favorably to what the 1 to 3 year treasury bonds are doing. And again, 0 to 3 month treasury bonds look like they're higher at 4.3%, but that's only it's a different time period. That's only 3 months. So if those rates tend to go down, that's why we want to lock our money in to higher rates for a little bit longer if we can. So we're safe, we're liquid, and we're getting a return on our investment. And the next steps for me is that I'm planning to make a few little tweaks to the monthly treasurer's report, and I'll include a cover sheet to kind of explain those changes when that happens. And I'll also make a few adjustments to our investment policy. It was last updated 2 years ago, and just want to make sure it's consistent with the latest regulation. And then I plan to come back in 6 months to review the full 2025 year for our investments. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Questions? No, thank you so much. Welcome for your first time. Nice. Make us more money. All right, I'm up next. Chief, you gonna meet me over there? Oh, yeah, I need brains, you're right. Bronze won't do. So you're in charge? I am. Okay, let's go. That one looks a little weak. All right, so afterwards, I'm sure you got some plugs that you need to give, but we will go with our proclamation first. So everybody should be getting ready for National Night Out. National Association of Town Watch is sponsoring a unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on August 5th entitled National Night Out. This is the 42nd annual National Night Out and provides a unique opportunity for the city of Turlock to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police community crime prevention efforts. It's essential that all residents of the city of Turlock be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and the impact that their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in the city of Turlock. So with that, the city of Turlock, myself and my colleagues, and the community, we wish that you'll all get involved and be a part of this, and we're calling this date of the 5th of August as National Night Out. So I give you this proclamation and hope that you can get these people involved if they're not. So thank you so much.
Great.
Hello, everybody. My name is Melanie Suffolk. I am the Crime Prevention Specialist at Turlock Police Department. So my job is to put out information out to the community about crime prevention strategies and try to prevent crime and bring people together and build those positive relationships with our community members of all ages. National Night Out is a great opportunity for our department to do that. We have all of the other first responding agencies in our county also participating. The mayor is a big support, the council members, our command staff and city officials, and really our community members come together. This year we have about 2,500 participants expected, 30 registered locations, so it's set to be a really good year and a good opportunity for us to engage the community. There is an event at Columbia Park open to the public from 5:30 to 8 p.m. on August 5th, so feel free to join us.
Thank you. We hope everybody's out there. Appreciate it. Thank you. Mr. Petrovakis.
Thank you, Mayor. The mayor asked me to prepare a brief presentation on sort of the differences between general law cities and charter cities and the pros and cons of each. Turlock is a general law city, and most California cities are general law cities. That basically means they operate under California state laws, especially the government code, but also other laws. And any local laws we pass here at the city have to be consistent with the California Constitution, state statutes, and state administrative regulations. A charter city operates under its own charter. Historically, charters were used to grant rights to different groups or peoples. So it's often called a local constitution. It's sort of a locally approved mini constitution, and it's limited, or it applies to what are termed municipal affairs, in quote marks. So the local laws can differ from state statutes and presumably regulations when dealing with what are deemed municipal affairs. It still has to be consistent with the California Constitution, and it also has to be consistent with the city charter if one is passed. Both forms of government have to be consistent with the U.S. Constitution where it applies. So it's a little bit hard to explain, but I'll do my best. So basically you have these things called municipal affairs, and then you have something of statewide concern. So it's kind of, one way to think about it is, are you going to have home rule or are you going to play by the state rules? So charter cities have control over municipal affairs, but not matters of statewide concern. And that might sound easy, but then the courts are the ones who get to define whether a matter qualifies as a municipal affair or not. So that makes it very complicated. And over the years, what I've noticed over the decades, I have a little bit of a personal interest on this because I've served on charter committees 3 times in Modesto. I chaired it once. So if I gave this presentation 15 years ago or so, I know a lot more than I remember. But what's interesting about it is the examples I'm going to give of municipal affairs, I'm going to say in whole or in part, because over the decades, the courts have sort of removed from local control things that might have previously been deemed to be local control. And it's sort of ever evolving. The courts have said, well, what is a municipal affair can change over time. Something that wasn't a municipal affair can become a municipal affair, or something that was a municipal affair might not be one anymore. And so anyway, lots of court cases. So examples of municipal affairs in whole or in part where the city might be able to legislate using a home rule power: city elections, the city police force, government structure, public contracting, maybe prevailing wages, although state statute has sort of undercut that. What our city officers and employees are about, finance and local taxes and assessments, and land use and zoning. Examples of state matters that are of statewide concern that a city could not legislate on its own in would be things like regulation of traffic and vehicles, licensing of members of a trade or profession, the California Environmental Quality Act, the laws involving how eminent domain is exercised, the condemnation power, annexations, meet and confer requirements with our our city employee unions, the Brown Act, and the Public Records Act. So what are the pros and cons? Let's start with general law cities, the way Turlock operates now. And as I mentioned, most cities operate this way. It's traditional and well understood because it's been on the books a long time. I would say some of this are sort of what's traditionally said about them, so I'm going to try not to editorialize. Simplicity, clear statewide rules, you sort of have a one-size-fits-all mechanism. Legal consistency, so probably reduced legal costs and no cases about if a charter city legislates in an area, you might have court cases about whether or not that's really a municipal affair. And probably fewer resources needed in terms of staff to kind of operate a charter city. Some of the cons, there's limited flexibility to tailor your local governance. You're bound by state mandates in all areas. You have less opportunity for innovation in municipal governance, which is sort of the downside of the one-size-fits-all. So pros and cons, some pros and cons of the charter city concept. The pros, greater local control over municipal affairs, flexibility to innovate in some portions of municipal affairs, ability to set your own election procedures. You can tailor your governance to local priorities. I'm going to add two that I think come out of my experience on my committees, and one of them is more just watching politics develop. I think you probably will have more cities become charter cities to make a statement against kind of an overreaching state government. And something I actually believe in, so now you're getting my editorial comment. I think we've lost the capacity largely to exercise self-government. So if you really wanted to recreate that ethic of self-governance, it might be something you might want to try. And that's really in contrast in California, because California was one of the innovators of basically expert governance, right? I mean, sort of the technocracy sort of developed in California. The UC system trains experts for all kinds of different government uses. So this would be kind of contrary to the trend in California. Some of the cons of charter cities, there is that risk of legal uncertainty. You might have to litigate over municipal affairs. You probably do need stronger internal at the city administrative and legal capacity. You're going to always have to make sure you're consistent with state law on the matters of statewide concern, which I said can change over time, what's going to be found in municipal affair or not. There is political complexity in sort of the process. It can become a very divisive issue. Sometimes there's concern that special interests are going to operate the system or that it's a power grab. That happens a lot in these situations. Some context to the charter cities I think it's as of 2024. This part I was arguing with AI all day about. So there's about 121 California cities that are charter cities. There's about 483 cities in California. So if I did the math right, I didn't rely on AI, so it's probably even less accurate. About 25% of the cities are charter cities in California. Certainly most large cities are charter cities. When I did it in Modesto, I sort of watched that trend. There certainly comes a time where I think cities get so big that they're not responding to the political pressures in the city. So most big cities are charter cities. But it's not just large cities. 63 charter cities have a larger population than Turlock does now, but 58 have a population smaller than Turlock's. So that's almost close to 50-50. Interestingly, geographically, it's sort of an uneven distribution. For example, Stanislaus, San Joaquin, and Merced counties each have only one charter city, the county seat. But other counties that are on the smaller side, have a number of charter cities. Tulare has 7 and Monterey has 6. in those counties, charter cities. So briefly, some issues to consider. It is going to be an ever-changing landscape of what constitutes a municipal affair that a charter city could effectively legislate in. So I think you would need to define what the community wishes to achieve and, first kind of confirm if it's legally possible. You don't want to chase unicorns in this situation. Does it meet your local purposes? What are your specific purposes? Do you want more home rule or local control? And really, at this point, I think, can you get enough of that it's worth all the exertion, to go through that? Do you want to pursue, I called it larger purposes. That might be a little unfair. That's, again, my editorial comment. I think the larger purposes would be if you wanted to make a statement against an overreaching state government, if you felt that way, or if you believe that self-government is important and it essentially has to be retaught in America. And again, I do want to say, I'll just end with this. I mean, I mentioned it already, but I think that one thing that's worth repetition is if it's misunderstood or not explained well, or if it's used for divisive purposes, the process can create a lot of local division instead of the civic purpose that it's really intended to achieve. I mean, most cities that, I read in the history of it when I chaired the committee in Modesto, and clearly a lot of it was done they did believe in more local control. It was often directed against state legislators and state legislatures. The whole concept of charter cities was among the progressive reforms. And that part of the history is kind of funny, and I wish I had enough discipline to write a book, because what happened was state legislatures were interfering in municipal affairs at a regular rate, before the progressive era sort of kicked in. So everything about progressive reforms, the direct election of senators, we could go on and on, right? Part of it was home rule, this home rule movement. And because legislatures were passing all kinds of bills at the state legislature that were interfering in the government of cities. They would pick whole new governments and things. So it was kind of a reform measure. Well, then after the progressive movement sort of, I guess won, whatever you want to say, this part of it, the home rule concept was sort of pushed aside. There's even a Harvard professor who wrote a book on it, and I couldn't find it for today. I know I bought it when I chaired that committee, and he said, well, yeah, there was this home rule thing, but after all these things happened, by about 1920, nobody really believed in it anymore. So it was kind of pushed aside. So, but it is meant for strong civic purposes, and it should be pursued for that. I'm going to stop there, and I'll stop editorializing.
Questions or suggestions?
Can you just clarify that there's like a process to go under, and sort of high level what that is, if that were to be pursued?
Yeah, high level. I didn't focus on it actually, but basically there's two ways to do it. Either charters can be the local legislative body can draft a charter and submit it to the voters. Both ways would have to be approved by the voters, by a majority vote of the voters. The other way, I don't know, I'll call it more inclusive or more elaborate. There's an election system to elect a charter review commission or committee that then is sort of in charge of drafting the charter and holding the hearings and all that. And then that's what ends up going to the ballot. In broad strokes.
Do you have any idea if the city decided to go that direction, what that would cost?
No, I'd have to come back with that. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you know at the time, like how long does it take a city to go from inquiry to having something to put before the voters?
I mean, that I did see a little bit on. It seems to vary. It's probably a year minimum, and then I think it could go on. It could go on beyond that. I don't think if you want the elected charter commission route, that's going to be 2 years or more. I mean, I had a committee, the one I chaired at Modesto. God bless all my committee members. I mean, because we did a real inclusive process. I drug them all over town for meetings, and that took. If I said it took 2 years, I'm probably underestimating. So,
Mr. Petrolakis, if the council wanted to pursue this, it would go to the voters on the ballot. What percentage do the voters have to pass it?
50% plus one. It's a
50+1.
majority.
Okay, and we have a lot of road repairs to make. Road repairs, does that fall in the category of municipal affairs? Muni affairs?
It does. It depends by what you mean on that. I know a lot of cities use the charter authority to, if you just use local funds to pay for roads, like say you use Measure A funds, you actually didn't have to pay prevailing wages. Now, the legislature sort of solved that or addressed that challenge by passing a law, SB 7, maybe 20, I don't remember when, but that says if you do that, if you do that as a charter city, well, we're not going to give you any state funding for roads. So that particular aspect of it, and again, I would have to research that more. I mean, because I saw that, and it looked like to me it had really almost eliminated the ability to just use local tax money.
So would council want to have more questions answered, or just stop here? What is the will of moving forward? This is just throwing it out there to see what Mr. Petrolakis, did I get to see in advance or hear anything what you're going to do with pros and cons?
No, you asked me to make a presentation.
So I have no interest
I
in
didn't
one way or
hear from
another. I just
anybody
want
on
to
the
see what
council,
people
yeah.
want. If there's more questions to be looked into, to see if there's some validity in pursuing it, let me know.
I don't know that we need to bring it back to the public portion anytime soon, but I just have some other questions. And it's really about finances and saving the city money on the stuff that we need to do as far as our local stuff is concerned, and whether or not there's any benefit there for the city. If not, I'm not interested.
Any other thoughts?
Well, I mean, it at first blush, it seems like it's a big administrative task to get to the voters, and then if it were, the will of the voters, then it seems like there's maybe even a more administrative lift to keep up to date on it. So there's maybe some benefits, but I'm not sure the juice is worth the squeeze at this point. It's a good line.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Petrolakis. At this time, we have public participation, and you'll have 3 minutes to discuss anything that was within our subject matter. And I have a list of people. We'll start with Milt.
There is a handout for you. Good evening, council, staff, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to think that we learn from the past, that we live in the present, and we plan for the future. The farmland north of Turlock can grow food for hundreds of years because of the soils we have there, the water we have in our irrigation district, and the climate we have in our county. There is an abundance of poor soils and wasteland in California and our nation for the developers to build houses on, like the Altamont Pass area, the area east of Oakdale. There's also the large landmass areas west of Patterson along Interstate 5 and east of Fairfield along Highway 12. We also have available the entire states of Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and New Mexico for the developers to build houses on. We must stop the sprawl in Turlock. We can grow up and not spread out. The land acreage north of Turlock is already fully economically developed. It's being utilized to produce food for our state, our nation, and the world. This land can produce food for our children and future generations for hundreds of years. On June 30th, and I have the handout, you can look at it, the city now has the opportunity to achieve these goals. The state passed 2 landmark bills that will give developers new statutory exemptions for infill development projects up to 20 acres. Now our developers have SB 9 plus these two new bills to be able to build infill housing more quickly and economically. In the literature I provided you, you'll find information on these two new bills streamlining the infill housing. I also have information for you on the community survey that was sent out to the citizens of Turlock a year and a half ago. 84% of the people who responded said that they own houses in Turlock. 94% said their primary language at home was English. Answers from the responses in the section thinking about priorities for the city, their number one response was taking action to prevent homelessness before it happens. In the number one response in the thinking about housing sections, the people of Turlock, their comments was, many people live together in one house because it's too expensive to rent or buy your own. We know what needs to be done in Turlock, and we the citizens can do it. I want to make a quick statement, and that is, I have no financial interest in any land in the county, the state, or any other state. The only land that I have, it is mine, it's my residence, it's fully paid for. I have zero debt. I have no debt. Every month, my car's paid for, my refrigerator's paid for, everything I own is paid for. And I pay all my bills on a monthly basis. So I am only here for one reason, and that is for the children and descendants, our children and our descendants. They're the ones who need it because they're too young or they haven't been born yet. And I will do this as long as I can. Thank you.
Linda?
Thank you very much. You brought up a section. I am homeless. I can't find a place. Rent is too high, and also I am tired of way people in general, like the businesses and stuff, are treating the homeless. If you don't understand how they are and what they're doing, how they're feeling, don't say you understand. Get to know them. Get to know who they are. And also another one of my pet peeves. There's homeless people coming to the bus stop. They are urinating. They're smoking pot and everything else. I have called the mayor's office and everything else. Nothing is being done. And I have asthma. I can't breathe. And we have these homeless that come on. They're urinated all over themselves. They have pot over themselves. I can't breathe. I don't want to stop riding the bus. I want something done. I want to be able to have a place that's called my own instead of have to worry about living in an unhealthy place. Thank you.
Scott?
Good evening. My name is Scott Siegel, and I've been a resident of Turlock since 1994. I'm here this evening to talk about the We Care decision. You need to know I expect three things from my elected representatives. I expect compassion. People in positions of power who fail to demonstrate that they care for others do not deserve to remain in the positions they hold. Your We Care decision screams that you don't care. I expect honesty. Frankly, many people, including me, don't believe that your decision was about restroom facilities. If you believe that not providing services to homeless will just make them go away, then please have the courage to say it. I read in the Turlock Journal that you were frustrated about funding for the homeless. Then why turn down funding? Your We Care decision has absolutely destroyed your credibility. I expect wisdom. Dollars spent in a community work their way through the local economy over and over again. While it's impossible, this is known as the economic multiplier effect. While it's impossible to know how many times the We Care funding would have been spent locally and then spent again, all the estimates of this effect that I have seen put it at between 1 and 10 times. And I think it depends on local conditions. Let's go with the low end and pick 3 additional times that those dollars would reverberate through the economy. It wasn't $250,000 you stripped out of the local economy. It was more like $1 million. The We Care decision was economically very unwise. I want to thank Council Members Abrams and Bixel for displaying the caring, the integrity, and the wisdom to make the correct decision. Thank you.
John?
Hi, I'm John Sorrell. I'm a retired professor at Stan State, a resident of Turlock for 39 years. When I heard that the city moved to block $267,000 in funding for the We Care program, I was baffled. I've been trying to understand what could explain blocking this funding needed to help the homeless. Mayor Bublak listed a number of criticisms of We Care, including the perception that its administrative costs are too high, that it serves non-residents of Turlock, that its services are not available 24/7, that negotiations over 24-hour access to bathroom facilities were not completed timely, that the mayor disapproved of how We Care representatives behaved in city council meetings, and that the lack of fuller funding from the state and county leaves the city to deal with some of the negative effects of the homeless. I don't see how chopping off half of We Care's yearly operating budget can help solve any of those perceived problems. The homeless are still here, and they still need help. A We Care board member, state law requires the city to complete rezoning by December 31st, 2024. Therefore, Turlock is currently about 19 months past its deadline to adopt a compliant housing element, and more than 6 months past its deadline to complete rezoning. Loss of state housing and transportation grants, loss of control over future housing development, and lawsuits and fines are possible consequences. But just lately, the city requested that HCD grant an additional extension of time to late August of 2025. The idea that the city, with its not inconsiderable resources, can be excused for being 20 months late in meeting HCD requirements while We Care has been cut off from vital funding because the city did not feel adequately reassured by We Care at the time of the cited May application deadline. That seems very sadly, tragically, and perplexingly inconsistent. I continue to wonder if there is some way that all the parties can come together to try again to work out a better solution. I really hope so.
Ann?
He has to put his glasses on. I have to take mine off. Okay. Mayor, City Council, I am Ann Strom. I have lived here for, I think, 18 years, so I'm newer. This is my point. I continue to urge you to stop your assault on the unhoused population, and that ruining We Care is completely unacceptable. I was reflecting this last week on two things. This council's exploration of turning Turlock into a charter city, and the mayor's admiration of Tom Homan, the so-called border czar. Turning the city into a charter city causes me to see the We Care issue in a different situation, in a different light. I see the We Care issue as the canary in the coal mine, and it's a way to try out the idea of flouting and disregarding the laws of the state. It makes me wonder what kind of access ICE would have to records, first responders, law enforcement, and the people of this community if this council can decide to flout state law. I would ask my fellow Turlockians to think about what this council is doing to the unhoused population and just wait to see what could happen if we're turned into a charter town where the council could decide that they don't like people who maybe are darker than them, who speak different languages than they do, who worship differently than they do. If this council is willing to do what it has done to the unhoused population, I urge my fellow citizens to think about what they might do to the rest of us. If the mayor's joy at hanging out with Tom Homan is any indication, becoming a charter town may be devastating to the people in this community.
Kathy do?
And you're so tall. I know. Kathy Dew, Turlock resident for over 35 years. I asked the officer to hand out to you a copy of resolution number 2017-243. Do you have that? Okay. I won't ask you to read it. I'm going to go over it. I'm representing Be the Change. Be the Change was instrumental in getting this resolution presented before the City Council in 2017. We had it approved, and yes, it was a real success for us. But let me go over what the resolution says for the rest of the audience. It says, whereas bullying, harassment, and hate crimes have increased in cities and communities across America, whereas the County of Stanislaus and the City of Turlock welcome and value diverse racial, ethnic, religious, and national backgrounds, and further recognizes that our diversity is critical to the economic, cultural, and social well-being of our community, and whereas the history has tragically taught us that when people stand silently by and allow acts of intolerance, hatred, and violence to occur, and whereas people often feel isolated, without hope, and helpless to do anything individually to end hate crime, and whereas people in communities across our nation have stood up and successfully occupied, or rather opposed, any acts of discrimination committed against our neighbors. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Turlock and elected representatives stand up against bigotry, hate-based groups, and hate-based crime of all kinds within our organization and throughout the community, and declares that no one shall be discriminated against because of race, faith, ethnicity, national origin, legal status, gender, age, disability, sexual orientation, or any other real or perceived difference. Be it further resolved, the City of Turlock stands together with all people of good faith across the nation in an effort to push back the rising tide of bullying, harassment, racism, and hate crimes, to proclaim not in our city, not in our country, not in our community, and not in Turlock. And it was passed and adopted by the City Council, including Mayor Bublak, on the 26th day of September 2017. I bring this before you today because there was an agreement that we negotiated with the City of Turlock that this resolution shall be posted on the wall in the lobby downstairs. It has since been removed. Why? Was it removed someplace else? I'd like to see it put back. Thank you.
All right. I don't have any other cards. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Julie?
I just wanted to say I was looking on AI and actually used Mr. Bridegroom's information. The cost, it says, for Turlock to become a charter city can be onerous. And in fact, in the Post, it said that Portland spent over $15 million just to get it started. $15 million, and there are also ongoing costs. It's in AI. You can look, or if you're on Save Turlock, I think you find that number there. So it is substantive. And I think if we can't even take money from the state to open a homeless shelter, then we probably don't want to spend $15 million because we don't even have our reports done on time. Like our housing report still isn't done. So I don't think we should go. I don't think we should do that. That's all. Thanks.
Ron?
Good evening. Okay, and thanks for the promotion of Save Turlock. I will say in general, they talk about bullying. Well, we've seen examples of that for multiple council meetings here. Typically, the use of clapping is a means of intimidation. and typically has not been allowed during council meetings because you need to show respect to other people who might have different viewpoints, okay? The old philosophy that good men can disagree. And just because we might disagree doesn't mean that we're evil, wicked, so on and so forth, okay? And showing respect to other people does not involve clapping, does not involve saying nasty things to people as they walk back to their seats, which has happened multiple times before, or giving them dirty looks. So when you come up here and you talk about, well, you know, we don't want bullying, that's exactly what we've seen, okay? The county rejected WeCare's application for ESG funds. That was before they applied for POHA funds. And that was because they ranked 5th, and there was only 3 grants not applied, but granted. So are we going to go to the county supervisors and say that their staff that did not rank WeCare high enough that they were mean, horrible people and cut their funding off? Also, it's a good idea. I agree with the gentleman who said that he hopes that all parties can come together to work out a solution. I actually tried that back in April. I hope that that can happen. I tried that back after the April meeting. I reached out, I talked with Pastor Jeff in the hall here because he knows my brother, Pastor Wayne. And after that, I reached out via Facebook to Corey Mai and asked if I could meet with her and Greg Bava and Pastor Jeff to have a conversation because we've been talking past each other evidently for 20 years, and 3 minutes at a council meeting is not enough. She responded very positively, reached out to Greg and Pastor Jeff. They responded positively. She said, let's meet on Friday. I said, let me know time and date and I'll be there. I never heard. I reached out again to her multiple times after that and didn't hear back. And I know that at least one business owner, the same thing happened to them. Thank you.
Anyone else who did not fill out a card who wishes to speak at public comment? Bob?
Robert Puffer, City of Turlock. I guess I had a question on how much was spent preparing the charter government that Mr. Petrolakis gave?
What, the presentation?
Yes. What was the cost of that?
I haven't finalized the bill, but I probably had 4 or 5, 6 hours into it.
And your billing rate is?
$300.
Okay. So we're already, just to do that, in some pretty good money that could probably be spent elsewhere. I wanted to thank Mr. Abram for coming up and giving the treasurer's report. I've been coming here for 10 years. It's the first time I ever saw a treasurer come up and actually give a report. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes.
Okay, good evening. Charter City? Seriously? Y'all want to change the laws in your own city? It's going to be to the detriment of your own city. I don't think the income of Turlock can match the funds of a state. It just doesn't. That's what I have to say about that. I think Charter City shouldn't even be on the table. For real. So, homelessness. So the other day I had some friends in town, and there was a young man living out of a box, taking a shower out of a cooler, right there on Main Street. The decision that you made about We Care is detrimental to the city. When you look out your front door, you'll see those guys, men, women, sitting right out there. Is it that you don't want to see them? Because they're not going to go away. The fact that you gave money away stopped them from being housed, getting a clean bed, getting a clean shower is ridiculous. You're supposed to take care of the whole city, right? That includes the housed and the unhoused. This council is taking it out on that. This guy talked about bullying. The council is bullying the very weakest people in the city. That's who's doing it. And so when we clap, we show support. We say that the council is wrong. But instead of going back to look, trying to renegotiate, maybe admitting that you could possibly be wrong, you choose to put up walls, not engage in negotiation, and now the pressure's coming down on you. So I hope you sleep well at night. I really do. I don't see how you can, knowing that you have put more people out on the streets than deserve to be. How can you do that? I don't know how you guys live with yourselves. I really don't.
Anybody else? Anyone else?
Good evening, City of Turlock. Justin Farkas, representing the Office of Assemblyman Juan Alanis this evening. Just coming to give a brief legislative update. And scrolling past these Giants notifications I'm getting, they're doing great tonight, by the way. It's 9-1, if you're curious. The legislature is currently on our summer recess. We plan to return on August 18th, which means the Assemblyman is going to be spending a lot of time here in the district, connecting with various stakeholders in our community, ensuring that we are serving them well. Prior to going on recess, though, we did have some pretty significant legislative victories. Assembly Bill 16, which is our bill to help enhance the speed of voting here in the state of California. That bill is currently on the Senate floor, pending a vote by the Senate body as a whole. And should they pass that bill by majority, it will be going to the governor's desk. Assembly Bill 17 was passed by the Senate prior to the beginning of the summer recess. So that bill is now waiting for a signature from Governor Newsom, and that the intention of that bill is to provide public access to precinct maps statewide. Assembly Bill 310, which is a cleanup bill for Nevaeh's Youth Sports Act, a bill, the Assemblyman's first bill ever passed. That bill is also on the Senate floor, pending final vote by the state Senate. And Assembly Bill 528, which deals with evidence access in regard to child exploitation cases and sensitive materials as such. That bill is in the Senate Appropriations Committee and is pending hearing there. So that's really all I have for you. Be on the lookout on our social media to see what the Assemblyman's up to during our summer recess and some of the community activity that we're going to be partaking in over the next few weeks. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close public comment. We'll move on to the city manager's reports and updates. Pushing button down here on the left. There we go.
I'm going to ask Director Fisher to come up, and I'll start this, a few things here to catch up with. One, I just told you I would give you a few different kinds of pieces of information about work going on. Finance took 1,879 calls and issued 63 new business licenses in the last month. Development Services issued 97 permits and initiated the bid process on 3 city-owned properties and hosted 2 pre-development meetings. We continue to submit our housing element sections weekly, as we committed to with the state, and they interact with those and send them back, and we send the next ones. I'm going to stop there. I asked Director Fisher to speak to you about our program with TUSD.
Thank you. With the wrap up of summer, I don't know if this is working. Wrap up of summer, we wanted to talk a little bit about, give you a brief update on the city's involvement with the before and after school programs with TUSD. For several years, the city has partnered with TUSD and Stanislaus County Office of Education to implement the After School Education and Safety Program, which is the ACES program. It's a grant-based, there's no cost. We serve approximately 500 students. In fact, tonight on the consent agenda, where we're proud to say that we have the MOU that allows us to continue to operate the ACES program for the upcoming school year. In addition to ACES, the city has historically offered the fee-based program, which is Play Positive Leader Activities for Youth. We served about 600 students with that. And a few years ago, the introduction of the Expanded Learning Opportunities, the ELOP program that was provided to TUSD, which had its own funding. And we supported the program as basically an independent contractor for the first summer and the first year of that. Recently, TUSD informed us that they intend to operate the ELOP program directly, beginning in the 25-26 school year, which is this year. We shared this update with the City Council on May 27th. Since then, we've received some questions and concerns from residents who appreciate the flexibility of the Play program because it's a fee-based program. There's no attendance requirements. It allows us to offer this at many different schools. An off-site after-school program is not practical for most families, and it's really because we have to have the campus space to do the Play program. Unfortunately, we rely on the daily availability of the TUSD facilities to offer the Play rather than outside. We cannot run the program independently without their cooperation. Since then, the city staff has remained in frequent communications with TUSD as the school year is coming up, and especially over the past couple of weeks, based on the conversations. While we'd love to bring Play back for the community, TUSD has indicated that they intend to serve all the students that are not enrolled in ACES through the ELOP program, and we don't have the necessary space to do the Play programs at this time. Nonetheless, we remain committed to delivering the high-quality ACES program. We also have Play in Denair School District and other recreation programs this year that are intended to prepare. And we're prepared to reintroduce Play program or any other valuable after-school care options as soon as the opportunity arises for us.
Thank you.
May I just ask a question? Is that okay?
Yeah.
So I do get conversations from family members that are kind of upset, and it seems like it's really like trajectory is at the city of Turlock that we're doing something wrong. So is it, do we have any control?
Not necessarily. We have to partner with TUSD to make sure that they have the space.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is if they intend to offer the ELOP program to all of the students that are not currently in ACES, there may not be a significant enough a demand for us to operate these programs at multiple school sites because we do have requirements of how many children we need to have to operate the programs.
So if there's people who are frustrated, is it best to send them to TUSD school board members, or where should we send them?
TUSD be the first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anybody? Thank you.
Thanks. I also wanted to let you know that we sold the property that the city had on First Street, and have that off our books now. And I want to say that I saw the road doctor somewhere. They filled 676 potholes last month. But I have a comment I want to make here. I'm relatively new, and I keep trying to gauge what it is important for citizens to hear from the city manager. I'm not an elected official. I'm the person responsible for collaborating with the staff to find and present solutions for the citizens. We don't always agree, but we continue day in and day out to present options. At the last council meeting, I was silent following a personal attack by an audience member. I was surprised and caught off guard, I gotta say. For those of you who may not know what emancipation is, it's a very specific term used to describe a minor who is no longer in the custody of their parents. There's only one person up here that was emancipated, and that was me. In my case, it was a court order to protect my life. I moved among houses and hid in different places till I could get on my feet. And to have a member of the audience refer to that story as fake news was a new low for something in my life. And I've been in public positions a long time. So I didn't lose any sleep. I have a great life, and my life has been full of acts of kindness from people across the board. I get to do work I like every day with people I like. But I'm also not going to sit silent in a public meeting while somebody lies about people's backgrounds and perspectives in service of somehow finding more compassion among each other. I also don't want to be silent for any other emancipated minor, somebody who came through all of that, who may be watching, or another kid I cross along the way who's sitting on a curb somewhere trying to figure out where they're going to go to sleep tonight. So thank you for that personal point of privilege, but I just wanted to make a point to say that stuff's really not okay with me. And you get to say whatever you want, but so do I. Thank you.
All right, moving on to consent calendar. There will be 2 items pulled off to be separated, and that'll be 8E Edward and 8F Frank. Are there any others?
Motion to approve minus E and
You
F.
want to call for public comment like we started doing?
My bad, I apologize. Okay, anyone wishing to speak to any of the items other than E and F on the consent item? Okay, closing that. Thank you for that, Mr. Petrilakis.
Good job, Mr. Pedrolakis. Motion to approve minus E and F, Madam Clerk.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Vixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, they passed with a 5-0. Councilmember Abram, do you want to speak to the, which? Sorry.
Yes, so I'll be recusing myself from E and F as I own properties in 2 assessment districts, Legends 4 and Legends North 3.
And I'll be recusing myself because I own a Traditions 5 assessment district, so we will take a hike. Let us know when you need us.
Sure.
You're recusing yourself? Okay.
Any member of the public wishing to speak on items E or F on the consent calendar? Okay, closing public comment.
Move to approve.
Second. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Vixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes. Passes 3-0. Thank you. Would you collect them back, please? Oh, great. That's lovely. Okay, we're on to final readings. This part's really not my job. Item 8A, I'm going to go ahead and open the public comment. Any member of the public wishing to speak on this item? I'm sorry, 9A, her agenda's different. Milt?
Yes, I had a brief comment on this item simply because I think this is a very good example of how good and how effective the general law city is. This didn't take us that long to correct the issue that we had to correct here. It was a pretty straight order thing, and our attorney took care of it, and everything is good, and now we're good. So the general law city seems to be able to do everything that we need or require here in the city of Turlock. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Bridegroom?
Oh, she's coming back.
Come on up, sir.
I was just
She'll
going,
jump in.
I was just going to say, turn her mic off, that's all. Because you had 2 mics.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Anybody else in the public wishing to speak on this item? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public comment. What's the will of council?
Motion to approve 9A.
Second.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Vixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes.
That passes 5-0. Okay, you want to pick it up at action item 11A on my agenda?
Right, okay, no public hearings and action items. We have A, you want to keep going? We have a resolution, Mr. Frimming, or somebody of that sort. Yeah, here you go. All right. I didn't see her leave. I went in my room and grabbed some.
It's okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name's Stephen Fremming. I work in the Engineering Division here at the City of Turlock. And the resolution before you is to approve the updated five-year capital improvement program for the City of Turlock for fiscal years 25, 26 through 29 through 30. So I just have a brief presentation here. So what is a CIP? It's a rolling five-year outlook of capital improvement projects needed to maintain and expand city's infrastructure. It's updated annually near the start of a new fiscal year. And we use this to manage and coordinate project priorities, timing, location, and resources. And a CIP should be guided by the general plan and any applicable master plans or specific plans. So why do we, as a city, need a CIP? The CIP is a helpful planning document. It documents our needs and resources, and the CIP can help city staff to prepare budgets and to support its capital improvements. It's also required per Government Code Section 65103, which states that each planning agency shall perform all of the following functions, including annually review the capital improvement program of the city or county and the local public works projects of other local agencies for their consistency with the general plan. So for this this update that we have before you, we identified 224 separate projects totaling an estimated cost of just over $411 million, and they fall into one of the following work categories: fire, police, IT, streets and signals, water, wastewater, sewer, storm drain, parks and facilities, housing, airport, transit, and administration and roads program projects. And so in the springtime, engineering staff worked with the various city departments and divisions to generate the CIP update. And the CIP functions as a clearinghouse of capital needs, not necessarily a fixed schedule to deliver all listed projects, because delivery of each project is contingent on available funding, permitting and property rights, city and consultant resources available to provide design, project management, and construction administration. But we do our best to deliver those projects as we can. And so the CIP document itself, the first few pages are spreadsheet format, listing by division within the city, a project name, the fund through which it would be funded through local dollars, whether or not there are grant funds allocated for the project, and then a kind of a schedule of spending that we see taking place to accomplish and deliver the project. So these are like the summary sheets that are up here. And then it's a rather large document. That's because each project has its own detail sheet, which gives a bit more information and flavor as to what the project is about. This is a sample of what that looks like. It includes a description of the project, a justification statement of why it's needed, and it indicates the different types of expenditures to be made on the project through completion, starting with design, through environmental, right-of-way, final design, construction, project management, and finally construction. And just a note, if you're looking and perusing the document, the numbers listed there are in thousands of dollars. So when you see, $92, it's in fact referring to $92,000. Just keeps the document a little brief with all the zeros. And we also include an estimated timeline to deliver that project at the bottom. So public projects include the following. So this doesn't, it's not an exhaustive list of every single project within the city, because some are categorically not considered a public project. But public projects include construction, reconstruction, erection, alteration, renovation, improvement, demolition, installation, and repair work involving any publicly owned, leased, or operated facility paid for in whole or in part out of public funds. And that definition comes from the California Public Contract Code. So typical projects include transportation infrastructure, utility construction and replacement, water, sewer, storm, etc., environmental remediation and treatment systems, landscape construction, building construction, additions and renovations, re-roofing, HVAC unit replacement, and others not included, but those bullets take into account the great majority of the type of projects we work with. And then so projects that are not included in the CIP are maintenance projects, and this is work that's routine, recurring, and usual work for the preservation or protection of any publicly owned or publicly operated facility for its intended purpose. That includes purchase of supplies, materials, appliances, vehicles, software, and purchase and installation of equipment that doesn't require improvements to the plumbing, electrical, structural, or other tangible system. If it's plug and play, it wouldn't necessarily be considered a construction public project. So that's what the CIP includes and not includes. The full CIP is within the agenda packet. And just to give a little brief update of where things are at, last Thursday, July 17th, the Planning Commission did review the CIP and found it to be in conformance with the general plan. And so tonight before you is City Council's approval of the 5-year CIP. And if the CIP is approved, then it would be updated on the city's website for everyone to view at that website here on this presentation. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions?
Yes, I do have a question. Thank you for your presentation, and I think it's always interesting to look through all of this and see like what gets done and what what the trajectory is. I noticed that in the detail pages, for when a project is completed, kind of the detail is lost. Like it doesn't, the spreadsheet doesn't have the numbers anymore. And I'm just curious, would it be appropriate or even possible when something is completed to sort of say like, and this is how much it cost, or like, and this is when we finished it? Is that something that could be included in future CIPs?
I think the CIP is kind of meant for like a looking forward plan. But if you're interested in kind of like the historical, what happened on that project, we can certainly put that together. I would want to kind of understand a bit more if there would be value in it being included in the CIP. But if that information is of value and needs to be, documented and shared with council in any way, I'm sure that could be done.
I mean, I only ask because, some of these big projects, they happen in pieces through resolutions here over a period of years. And, it's kind of nice to have like a memorialized, like this is what it costs to build X. So, but I don't want this to be something that takes a lot of extra work, but I just think it could be a good, information source.
This is where your tax dollars went.
Sure.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll open it to the public. Anyone wishing to speak regarding this item? No. I know it's hot in here.
Chief, that's your cue.
Mr. Fleming, I have two questions regarding the report. I don't know how to focus in on them. One of them is the biogas boiler and waste flare project, which was removed from the list. My question would be, please explain why you're removing this project from the list, since this is a major polluter in District 2. And, what does that mean? It's you found a better solution, or we're still going to continue polluting District 2, or what's going on here? So that's question, and that is on page 318 of your agenda, but I don't know if you can see 318 on there.
I just have my
Hang on,
presentation
Mr.
loaded.
We'll get all the questions and we'll answer.
Okay.
Thank you. Other questions?
But you'll
Bill?
be able to answer these questions with the information I give you? Someone can answer them here in the room?
Absolutely. Sure.
I can provide a best response I have at the moment, yes.
Well, we have could we use some people that maybe help? Okay, the second question is regarding the access aquifer storage recovery well at Diane Pond. Please explain what's planned here. I know that direct recharge of the aquifer can only be done with potable water. And looking at the diagram, again, this one for the people with the agenda, it's page 346 on the agenda. When you recharge the aquifer, you cannot put dirty water in there because we pump that water back up for drinking purposes. So the water that goes down in the aquifer needs to be purified. It needs to be potable before it goes down. So kind of explain what's going on here, and it doesn't have any prices, it just has it listed as one of the items. So those are the two things I'd like pretty clear explanations of why we're doing them, if possible. Thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah.
Good evening, Council. My name is Zach Guiley. My brother and I own Mid-Valley Pawn on Main Street. I received an email from the city attorney. We've been trying to purchase the building that we're located in for about 8 months. We've been in escrow process. I'm not sure if this is quite the appropriate time, but this was brought up from the city attorney that it would be addressed. This PCE investigation kind of speaks to some of the environmental issues that are going on. We weren't unable to receive funding from a bank, even though we were approved
Can we
through
ask
the.
you to do a side conversation with probably Director Fisher and then eventually our attorney?
I'm not sure. Again,
not
if this
sure
is
that
the
this
most appropriate spot. I think it just speaks to the environmental issue. I'm just
Gotcha.
not sure exactly how
Yeah.
the city it makes a plan as to what those improvements or how they will become. But the funding wasn't able to happen because, as I understand it, the city has received some sort of funding, and there's a delegation as to where these monies come from in the general fund. So I just wanted to bring it to the attention of the council. That we are a business here trying to continue to serve the community. And I want to bring this to top of mind for you guys that this is a problem. We weren't able to finish this escrow process because of an issue that the city attorney is well aware of and has provided me an email. So
I think it is a listed project in the CIP.
So my understanding was that this would be an action item here on the agenda this evening, and that we would have some sort of timeline or some opportunity to bring it to your guys' attention.
Okay.
And so I thought this was the most appropriate place to do that.
You might know more than I do here on this.
Okay. That was my concern, is that maybe the council knows nothing about it.
Right.
And so I just wanted to go ahead and make my presence known and at least bring it to your attention that this is an issue. We survived through the process of digging up Main Street and the process of turning that spot over. We've been there for almost 9 years. I'd like to continue to do business here in the city. I'd like to purchase the building that I'm in. It was not due to lack of ability of the business itself to get funding, but no SBA, no bank would process a loan for that purchase of that building due strictly to the environmental issue. We've had some communication through our realtor and through the city attorney as well. And I was just hoping to bring it to the attention of the city that maybe we can discuss this at a further time.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Zach, you're my district. I'll reach out.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Anyone else on this item? Yes, Ron?
Well, first I just wanted to say that I like what you do in terms of the format. You have the spreadsheet and then you have the details. That's a lot of work involved. So, but it's also very helpful. I know when I first looked at the CIP years ago, I looked at the spreadsheet and partway through I just gave up. Okay, and then I discovered all the detailed pages afterwards, and so I was impressed. So, see, I can say nice things too.
Look at you.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I do have a question though. I'm not trying to pick on one particular thing, but I'm trying to understand some of the schedule of the funding that you lay out at times in these projects. For example, the Armory. I'm very glad that we're finding uses for the Armory with the fire department. But there's evidently additional work for the, I think it was the roof and the HVAC system. And you had a schedule laying out certain amounts of money that was going to be spent during certain fiscal years. So I'm just wondering if that was internal planning, because I don't remember any of that being brought before the council for approval. I'm a little confused, so that's all. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we will close the public hearing and come back to the questions. We're going to start with page 318.
Yeah, so the, just to kind of high level before I begin trying to answer the questions is, what engineering does is we'll work with the various city departments to kind of collect their project needs into one place. So some of these I'll do my best to answer, but we probably might need, follow-up from the individual divisions to answer the question. So with regards to the waste gas flare that was brought up, that was a project added years and years ago to the CIP when it was believed that we needed to replace that waste gas flare in short order. And then through additional research that was done by the WQC operations manager, he found that it wasn't necessary to replace at this time. And I don't know all the ins and outs of why that is. So the waste gas flare that's existing, it's still there, and with no immediate plans to replace it. I'm sure it will need to be replaced eventually, but that's why the project was shown as removed, just because there was some type of regulatory or operational point that was found that allowed it to just remain as is for the present. But follow-up would need to take place with the WQC operations manager on that one. And then the other question was regarding aquifer storage and recovery at Diane Pond. Again, this was a thought that was brought up years and years ago with the CIP. And kind of how it works is we get a project kind of request that makes its way into the CIP. It lives there, and when it's like no longer a priority, it still stays there. So all that to say that right now there's not a lot of effort being put into that particular project. It was kind of thought about like, oh, this might be a good idea from years ago, and there really hasn't been a lot of thought or discussion to advance that project along. So it may not come off completely. It may come back, but the idea there would be that you would pump the water out of the aquifer, and then you could store it. So you would then pump it back down. There'd be a reverse process to push the water back down into the aquifer. And it allows, and I'm not the expert on this, we had a presentation a few years back from Curlo engineers. They came in and they gave a presentation, all the technical advantages to an ASR well and why you would or would not put one in. And like I said, staff at this point, they've kind of just stepped back from it for now. Not planning to pursue it at the moment, but that's why it's in there. So that's the update on those two projects. And then I think the next question was this gentleman. I think there is a sheet in the CIP that talks about the downtown PCE remediation project. And from what I know, I believe that on the August 12th City Council meeting agenda, I believe that's when the cities will be requested to approve an agreement with the outside consultant to begin a design process to work on that issue. So I don't want to speak for other people here, but that's just what I've heard. And on Mr. Bridegroom's comment, which was related to like the timing, I think specifically the Armory, but in general, how the timelines kind of come together. It's a collaborative effort between the requesting department. Like they might have a need like, oh, I really need this like now. And maybe their desire is for that to be constructed like within, a very short amount of time. And so there's a little bit of back and forth, where they have like their desires for how a project might proceed through design, development to the end. And then engineering, we provide comments like, well, maybe that's not realistic. Given our experience, we think it'll take this much time to go through this process and hire that consultant. And so it is a kind of a engineering input, but also the department giving their own input into what they would like to have happen. So there are a lot of projects on the CIP, so I can't remember too many details on the Armory itself and how that timeline came together, but it was a bit of a back and forth between the engineering division and the sponsoring department. So I hope that answers the questions.
Other thoughts or questions? Or I would say that going through the budgeting things and having the discussion, I don't think we've ever said at this dais talking about let's put money into the Armory. We've talked about selling it, but I would hope that, I see that it's like to be determined or whatever, but I don't think we've made a collective vote on that. And I know just a couple of us had a dialogue about if you're gonna fix something, let's make it something that's being used on a daily basis. Comments? So Will?
Move to approve 11A. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll.
Councilmember Abram? Yes. Councilmember Pixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, passes on a 5-0. Thank you, Mr. Frevy. All right, Director Sims.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, city staff, and members of the public. The item before you tonight is asking council to approve a resolution that authorizes the interim city manager to enter into an agreement with California State University Fresno Foundation to offer parent university virtual educational classes at no cost to Turlock residents. The cost for the city to participate in parent university program is $7,000 per year. There would be no cost for Turlock residents to participate in the program. This is an excellent workforce development, talent development, and educational resource for Turlock residents. The Parent University virtual courses include the following courses: digital literacy 1 through 4, financial literacy, parenting skills, pathway to college, health and wellness, small business development, social emotional learning, English conversation, Spanish conversation. Courses will be offered for the months of August through June. Winter and summer classes may be offered if enough interest is there. Each course will meet 2 times per week, 2 hours per instruction session, virtually for a duration of 4 weeks. Upon completing each course, participants will be provided certificates of completion from California State University, Fresno. This would be our second year participating in the program. If there are any questions regarding this item, we have Mr. Miguel Preciado from Fresno State Parent University with us tonight.
Questions?
I do have a question. So I think we signed into this program like October or something last year. So this was not really a full year of participation. Was it just the fall and summer terms, or was there a winter offered? Like, how many months were people able to sign up this first year?
For the first year, we did join late. We brought the item, I think, on October 8th, 2024. So we came in at a prorated cost of $4,000 for the first session. So there was 8 sessions available to the Turlock residents. We had, let's see here, 403 registrations for the first year, only 153 that completed the programs. The most popular courses included small business development that had 85 registrations, digital literacy that had 43 registrations, financial literacy that had 56. But then in the summer session, adding to the count, there was an additional about 33 registrations that completed as well. So.
And either through our own kind of surveying of people or through Fresno State's Parent University, do we know how Turlock residents are coming to this, how they're hearing about it?
So it's usually a partnership with the city and their announcements that they put online. We've seen great return from that, and also the school district as well. Its name being Parent University initially started with a direct partnership with school districts, but since then we've opened it up to city offices or anybody interested in providing those classes to their community.
So I kind of going with you on how do we see the return on investment? Just some of the numbers that the Director Sims gave us kind of lead us to believe that a ton of people sign up and very few people actually go through it. So how, do you have a metric? Are you showing like what a success really is?
So the certificate is a full participation of the class. Due to it being 8 sessions throughout 4 weeks, there are individuals that will, of course, initially sign up, thinking that's very easy to do and, try and participate in the program, but due to different time commitments, they might be unavailable to do so. I'm an instructor. I've been an instructor for all of the digital literacy classes, and I'm currently the host for the small business development program, and I'd be more than happy to provide case studies if you would like to show some of the success there. The certificates, though, no, on that specifically, they can be used, wherever you would like to apply for a job. There are many individuals that do the digital literacy courses for that reason, just so that they can show proficiency in a way that's actually certified and not a way that, I promise I'm really good at Microsoft Word without just through their own account. But for some of the case studies, at least that stand out most to me, I'm also part of the Women's Entrepreneur Center that provides economic development to any entrepreneur or current business owner. And one of our clients that participated in the small business development class was looking to expand their business and needed assistance directly with business lawyers, which we were able to provide at no charge. And besides that, I can go on other case studies, but for the sake of time.
So,
I will note the first year that we participated, the qualifications for the participant had to have 90% attendance, 90% completing the coursework. This second go around, I think the change has been 70%, 70% attendance, 70% coursework as well.
So we lowered standards. Okay, so my question is, they start the class is charged at the full cost, but if they don't complete and get the certificate, the cost of the class is still charged, correct?
The participant, so the course, the charges for the whole course, it doesn't matter how many people sign up. So yes, the charge would be for the full course, the full suite. It doesn't matter if one person or the entire city population signs up.
Okay.
Is there any other entity in Turlock that is funding you for any of this?
Not directly in Turlock, but we do have other neighboring cities and organizations. It is a statewide program, and I believe even in the state of Washington, we have some connections there and classes going on there.
Okay.
And just to confirm, Mr. Director Sims, that this is a $7,000 1 year, like the 1 year costs $7,000, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I'll open it to the public.
At the risk of offending someone, I still have a right as a citizen of Turlock to speak the truth about what goes on in Turlock. And this is one of those perfect example times. The city has no problem with rejecting free money or $1 money for something useful in the city, but they will spend hours debating a $7,000 issue. And this is terrible. And I have a right to say this because it's true. And I also had a right to say that Rebecca Moniz did not live in her district, and it was not a full-time place. She did not have a full-time
Can
resident.
we focus on this topic, sir?
I have a right to speak as a
Okay, but
citizen of
speak
Turlock.
to the substance of
Okay,
this.
this is a $7,000 thing. It sounds like what I'm saying is, it's the way you take this. You have something in your mind, and it's not going to pass, and you get your 3 votes and it doesn't pass. And that's what I get tired of seeing. It's not for the good of the citizens of Turlock. It's not for the good of the people. It's for whatever you like and whatever you think is right. And that is not good in a democracy. We have liberty and freedom. You can deceive the people, but you can't deceive the laws of physics and mathematics. And you're just not doing good things for the city of Turlock. And I can say that as a citizen because it's an actual fact.
Do you have a question regarding this?
I think this should be passed. It's a wonderful program, and I recommend that you vote yes on this. Thank you.
Bob, did you have something?
I guess I'm a bit confused. Is the cost to the city of Turlock $7,000 for the whole program, or is it $7,000 per student?
$7,000 for the entire year for the whole program.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll close the public comment and bring it back for some discussion. I would like to just say that I would prefer that it not go an additional year, only because I really
Thank
think
you.
there's stats and data that we want to see.
Yes.
I'm really kind of concerned about the C level, right? We're moving it to 70%, but it would be nice to come back with stats and data, metrics of return on our investment, so that we're really helping our people. And that would be my only request on a motion.
I didn't know you were requesting a motion, but I was going to do that same thing. I love this program. This program is great, and I want it, but I don't want to just slap on a one-year option. I want you guys to come back. I want us to re-up it. I want to get an accounting again and do it for next year, too.
Yeah,
So
that's more
I'd
than
say-
fine.
I would motion with the modification that we just don't add the one additional year.
And I would second that with the additional comment that, I think it's really encouraging that we had 150, maybe even 30 more from the summer session that have completed this in less than 1 year. And, I think we can all understand that life happens. You have good intentions. You might not make it to every class, but the students are still getting something from that. And at the amount of people that finished it for $7,000, that's like giving them a $40 grant. I think it's money well spent if it's going to increase their ability to learn and their opportunity. So second again.
A motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, thank you. Let me pass this on to 5-0. Director Lohr, you're up, bud. It's you.
I'll pass with 5-0.
Oh, are you sure?
All right. Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council, residents. I am here tonight to request approval for an agreement between the City of Turlock and Matrix Design Group in the amount of $206,526 with a 10% contingency amount of $20,653 to update the city's ADA self-evaluation and transition plan. As the staff report outlines, ADA Title II requires state and local governments to ensure that their services, programs, activities, facilities, and public rights-of-way are accessible to people with disabilities. To ensure compliance with the ADA Title II regulations, local governments are required to review all aspects of these programs and services by developing and updating a self-evaluation and transition plan. In summary, a self-evaluation assesses services, policies, and practices to identify any potential non-physical barriers, and a public right-of-way and facility assessment to identify any physical barriers that discriminate against people with disabilities. The transition plan creates an actionable program to address any identifiable barriers. Federal and state guidelines require local government agencies to update their plans on a regular basis to reflect changes in regulations, facilities, and programs. The recommended practice is to update ADA self-evaluations and transition plans every 5 to 7 years, or sooner if significant changes occur. The City of Turlock last updated its ADA self-evaluation on November 14th, 2017, and its transition plan on May 13th, 2014. As such, the city issued an RFP earlier this year to update the ADA self-evaluation and transition plan. The scope of services requested in the RFP was to update the self-evaluation, the transition plan, to conduct a public rights-of-way and facility survey and barrier assessment, to create a project database and mapping that aligns with our GIS system, community engagement, and city staff training. The city received 7 proposals and established a 4-person evaluation committee to evaluate and rank the proposals. The proposals were evaluated based on experience and qualifications, with 30% approach, scope of service, and project timeline with 30%. The pricing was 30%, and references were 10% for a total of 100%. After careful consideration of all the proposals, the evaluation committee selected Matrix Design Group to conduct this project. Matrix is based out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. They have 230 professionals with experience working in the state of California. They had one of the lowest proposals. The top proposal, the highest costing proposal was roughly $600,000. So this is a third of that. They have an aggressive timetable to get this project done with 12 months. Again, their database and mapping aligns with our GIS system, so there wouldn't be any issues there. It's very user-friendly. And lastly, it was important for us, even though they're based out of Colorado Springs, that all of the surveys and barrier assessments are done here on site. So any of the facilities that they go out and survey, all the sidewalks, curb ramps, intersections, so on and so forth, all of that is going to be boots on the ground. This project is fully budgeted in this fiscal year, as noted in the staff agreement, or the staff report, excuse me. Any questions?
Questions?
What is the timeline to have something like this completed?
It's 12 months. Yeah. So it's fairly aggressive. The soonest some of the proposals proposed was 9 months, but I think this is a reasonable amount of time.
With that, are they offering guarantees of keeping us out of hot water.
No, what they're
As soon as they
hired to do is identify these barriers, both non-physical and physical, and to give us an actionable plan to take care of them. They'll create a priority list for us. They'll give proposed or projected costs. They'll identify the department that is responsible for it. The GIS mapping will be, like I said, very user-friendly, interactive, so whoever's updating the database, it should be very friendly. It'll be like a dashboard, if you will.
And this information will be proprietary in that it won't go public until we start to fix things, or it comes public and our liabilities out the door?
Yes. So
Yes
there'll
to
be a community engagement piece on this. We'll take the feedback. But we'll be bringing back the self-evaluation and transition plan with all of this information, and at that time it will become public.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll open it to the public. Come on up.
My apologies if you had this answer in the staff report. I
Sure.
didn't read the staff report. I was just wondering, it evidently has been a long time since we've done this type of study, so it sounds like it needs to be done. I was just wondering if there was some event, if someone filed complaints or something like that, or you're just taking preemptive, positive action because of a risk that we have. That's my question.
Yeah, this is a proactive step. I'm the city's ADA coordinator. We have not received any complaints. Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody else? Okay, we'll close public comment, bring it back.
I just wanted to comment that, this is obviously a big project. You mentioned that it's going to be someone coming out here and inspecting every mile of road. They say, it's going to be 900 man hours to do that. So this is a high price tag, but it's going to give us good information. And I just wanted to, point out and remind everybody in the public that we're talking about this within the context of ADA, but sidewalks, curb cuts, the buttons that you press to open doors, they help everyone. So I think that having this plan and then executing this plan over time is going to be really beneficial. So I will motion yes to approve. Second.
A motion and a second. Will you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes.
Thank you.
That's on 5-0. Thank you, Director Lord. Mm-hmm. You guys don't say?
Yeah. She's up next.
Oh, you're up. Oh my gosh. Okay.
All right, start.
you go.
Director Borrego.
We are presenting the city's required response to the Stanislaus County Civil Grand Jury Report. The background is that the grand jury investigated the housing division following a citizen complaint regarding HUD fund use, documentation, and compliance with regulations. The city received a report on June 23, 2025, and we must respond within 90 days as required by the penal code. Let me just give you the statement of finding. The City of Turlock's housing department has experienced turmoil in recent years, has been held accountable. New policies and procedures, a decline in job turnover, and attention to detail have helped the department fix the problems of the recent past. The city agreed with that finding and was closed out. The second recommendation is that the SCCJC recommends that Turlock City Council instruct the Housing Department to release the HUD monitoring report dated July 23rd, 2024 to the public on or before November 15, 2025 as a model of transparency between the City of Turlock and the community it serves. And the city agrees with those recommendations as well.
Questions?
Is releasing the HUD finding report something that we routinely would do, or?
It's my first one, but.
Yeah. No, I got you.
And it had to be timed within X amount of days. So we got it in 2024, but couldn't release it until they finished all of their findings.
Other questions? Okay, we'll open it to the public. Good.
And I should say, it says the same thing I just said. The findings are all closed and that we have to release the report.
Closing the public comment, bringing it back.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Call the roll.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
Yes, passes on a 5-0. All right, moving on. Dead for. All right, we have Chief Harkson. Tell us something good.
Yeah, tell us something real good.
I got good news for you. Good evening, Council, Mayor. Good opportunity to be in front of you again. Tonight, I bring forward to you a housekeeping issue with our OES and our partnership with Cal OES. The Turlock Fire Department has been selected for our fire engine. Current fire engine 339 will be replaced by Cal OES. It's part of their normal scheduled maintenance and replacement plan for their fleet. With that, we're just asking for council approval to continue to participate in a program and take receipt of this new engine and return the current engine that we have back.
Questions?
It's a free fire truck, right?
It is a free fire engine, yes.
Who says no to free?
How much is free?
It's a BOGO.
Net
Well,
cost
if
zero.
Open it to the public. Bob?
I guess I'm confused. We're going to receive a 2025 fire engine? And what year engine are we giving up?
Okay, any other questions?
Oh, that's not enough? Yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay, closing the public comment and bringing it back.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, a great question. So these are state-owned assets. They are basically placed on a temporary loan to the city, to cities throughout throughout the state of California. The current rig we have right now is a 2008, and they will be taking that back in. The state will be surplusing that engine plus all the equipment that is on that engine, and then providing the new consignee. In this instance is us, and they will be providing us with a brand-new fire engine with all brand-new equipment placed on it and ready to be deployed.
2026?
2025.
2025.
Push it.
So we're swapping a 2008 for a 2025.
We're getting a good
Right.
deal.
Correct me if this is not something that is used on a day-to-day basis by our department, correct?
It is not used on a day-to-day basis, but the city does have it has provided us a huge barrier within our fleet. Was we were kind of struggling through some apparatus that were struggling to keep them on the road. The part of the agreement is that we can put this unit in frontline service at any time. All we need to do is make notification through our local Cal OES regional rep. We make contact with them, letting them know we're placing it in service in town. What that does is that pulls it out of the state's response system, so it won't be requested to do that. I was going to run a report, and I apologize. I was going to run actually how many days we've had this thing in service. We have ran this thing significantly within the city of Turlock during our tenure while having this engine in our fleet. So it has been a very huge asset for us.
Move to approve.
Second.
Yeah, motion and second. Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Abram?
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz?
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips?
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Bublak?
That's a 5-0. All right, you're still here.
I'm still here, and the goal to get you out of here.
More good news.
Yeah, more good news. My goal is to get you out of here by 8 o'clock. All right, the next one we're bringing forward to you is the state, because of our participation in the Type 1 project, or Type 1 engine with Cal OES, they've extended an offer. The Governor's Office of Emergency Services went out about 3 years ago, and they purchased a bunch of what's called Type 6. A Type 6 is basically a fire engine that's placed on a very heavy-duty pickup type chassis. It comes with 4x4 access, which we don't currently have within our fleet, and the state has afforded us an opportunity to participate in this program. And we have been awarded an opportunity, so with council approval, we will be allowed to participate in this program. It'll fall into it's the same contract as we operate under with the Type 1. The city will be able to use this, we'll be able to deploy this, actually it's going to be a supplement to our fleet and provide us an opportunity to get off-road in places that we currently can't get with our Type 1 fire engines. Our Type 1 fire engines is what we call it, kind of like asphalt queens. We keep them on the road because they're very heavy, they're two-wheel drive, and they have a tendency to get stuck. This is going to give us a lot of latitude. here, even within deploying it here within the city of Turlock and the surrounding area, to be able to get off-road to where we can get crews to the edge of the fire, engage the fire faster, and more importantly, we can get our crews off the fire scene faster because we don't have extended hose lays with our current fire engines. We're pumping from the road and we're doing 400 or 500 foot hose lays off this. With this, we'll be able to mobile attack and be able to get out there and increase our effectiveness.
Any other questions? You got Queens?
Asphalt Queens.
Asphalt Queens.
Okay, all right. We'll open it to the
So that
public.
little fire lingo there, Mayor.
Right, I'm learning. King me. Anybody want to speak on this topic? Bob?
Yeah, does the state have any hook and ladder trucks that they're offering?
The state does not currently have any hook and ladder trucks.
Good try.
The Type 6 engine, is that something that could be used on fires out on canal banks? Is that the type of idea you're thinking that we got a chance to hit?
Yeah, this is more of what we would, in our fire lingo, we would refer to this as a grass rig. So this is something that we're going to go after light, flashy fuels after. We're going to use this type of rig and use it to deploy on that because we can get out there quick. We get to where that is. Our Type 1 fire engines are more based towards like structural and heavy commercial firefighting. In between here, we can get into we can have another site conversation, but there's other types that we use for different types of firefighting throughout the state.
And is this something that CAL FIRE is gonna wanna ask to borrow if there's a forest fire?
So part of this agreement is we are part of the state master mutual aid program. So yes, there is a potential that they could call us and ask us to do that. That would all go through the Cal OES request system. And if we have availability and staffing to send it, we would make that deployment.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, we will close public comment, bring it back.
So a Type 6 is not an asphalt queen, just
It
so
is
we're
not.
clear.
It
Very
is
good.
not.
Understood.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please. All of us.
Councilmember Abram.
Yes.
Councilmember Bixel.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moniz.
Yes.
Councilmember Phillips.
Yes.
Mayor Bublak.
Yes. Passes on 5-0. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Chief.
council.
All right, council member comments, announcements, and future items. Council member.
Yes, so it's been brought up a couple times tonight, but it was on my list, to have a more fully fledged discussion about the future of the armory. Cause I too saw in the CIP that there was a request, we need to fix the roof and it needs an HVAC and, it's my understanding that there's a good use for it right now to protect our fire assets, keep them inside, but that begs the question of, well, what's the long-term plan for those fire assets? And, we have a report from, I think 5 years ago or maybe more that says the highest and best use of the armory is maybe to sell it and to create housing there. So, there's a lot of puzzle pieces there that I'd like us to be able to, move things in that direction. And then I wanted to bring up an issue in my district. There is an issue of pedestrian safety at Christopherson and McKenna, and this is not news to anybody. I'm very thankful to Director Fisher and our city engineer, Mr. Morris, who have been working on figuring out a long-term solution, because that is, if you're not familiar with that area, that is just south of Maderos Elementary. It is,
All Saints.
and yes, right across from All Saints. Some people park there and they go to the university. And I just wanted to bring it up that, it's great to have a long-term solution, but with the Turlock School District starts in 3 weeks. 1 week after that, the university is back in session. And I would just really like it if internally, heads can come together on what are the temporary things we can do. I know the city is in communication with the school district on educating people, but could there be temporary signage to say, go use the crosswalk that's up the road? Could we put a police
Electric barbed wire?
Not for the children,
Oh,
Mayor,
my bad.
but could we put a police volunteer there on the peak hours after school to say, don't cross here, go up to the light? Because I've personally seen it that there are small children playing Frogger on Christopherson. It's happening all day long, and thank goodness nothing's gone wrong yet that I know of, but I feel like every day is a tragedy waiting to happen. So I would appreciate if we could look into that.
Councilmember Bixel.
Look at my fence in front of Osborne School on West Main. That's probably what you need out there. And I just want to say, in regards to the Cassie's Armory request,
just before their election cycle, we had, I think, a couple environmental reports that came back on the armory. Whatever we do with the armory, it's going to be massively expensive because there are a lot of environmental issues there because of all of the old asbestos and the gunpowder in the range. So, but I know we did work on this a few years back, just before Councilmember Abram was elected. So we might pull that information for her to help.
All right. I'm gonna have two comments and a couple of just other things, but I would say that democracy is not unanimous votes. Those who think that is I've never seen democracy be that way. There's not 100% in any household, much less at a table of people. And also, it's odd to me that the judgment regarding speculation of people's lifestyles and are so strong. It's bullying. I'll leave what Director or what Ms. Borrego talked about, but I too was attacked on that. It's just, you don't know what my life was, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you, but you don't have a right to sit there and judge. That's bullying. Let the stuff go. Speak to the issues that you do know. The other day, Chief Evans and I went to San Francisco for the U.S. mayors. They hosted the mayors for Google. It was pretty cool. I think he's going to bring back something soon about tracking the homeless. I think you guys are doing that somewhere else, but that'll help with the nonprofits and trying to identify who needs this assistance and where they're at. Some cool things they had were Costa Mesa sewage. They're using the GoPro to inspect their manholes, which is making the cost extremely less. They had all these other cool things, but it was just interesting to see what you could think about as a city, and then I was almost like, that'd be better if they just came and talked to our directors and we could dream. So that was a cool thing to do. Also, I'm curious if we can have an update on the parks camera status and also the status of the senior center, the roof, we talked about ADA, the door that would be helpful for them to get in sometimes when their hands are full or their hands are holding themselves up. With that, I do believe we have a closed session.
Yes, we have 13A, Conference with Labor Negotiators, California Government Code 54957.6A, Agency Designated Representative, Interim City Manager Sue Borrego, Employee Organization is the Turlock Management Association, Public Safety.
All right, and we will report out should there be something.
I know.
We're ready. Okay, and we're back, and we have nothing to report out, and the meeting is closed.
Not bad.
Sue's the only one emancipated.
Now that we got that cleared up.
Yeah.